buddy, this is not the conversation that I expected to be having, or that I think you expected to be having, or that anyone out there expected us to be having. It was business as usual game one, right? It was what we expected. Tennessee run rules A&M. No hits them. No hit.
Their second no-hitter of the season.
Second no-hitter of the season. No hit, run rule them. We're thinking, again, like we said going in, A&M, they'll be lucky to win a game.
Harrison, you said coming in the series, that's a win if they win a game.
It's a win if they win a game. Harrison, what took place on Saturday is nearly beyond comprehension. Texas A&M puts belt to ass for 2 straight games. Does something to Tennessee's pitching staff that I don't even think we knew was possible. And this Aggie beast has awoken. At least for the time being, it awoke on Saturday. And my God, Texas A&M takes 2 or 3. I mean, Harrison, it's incomparable, but also it isn't, because it's like, this is the team we thought we were going to see all season long, and they finally showed up at Lindsey Nelson Stadium against the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, it was – I don't think anyone except for maybe some A&M fans that are still hopeful and faithful, and
I don't even know if they thought it was possible.
The Aggie clubhouse, knew that they had something to go and do this on the road, Chris, in the SEC, let alone the defending national champions that beat you in the finals, let alone the number 1 team in the country, let alone the hottest team in the country, let alone after getting no hit and shutout in game 1, Chris. I think part of it played, yes, it happened in game 1 first, but the fact it was a doubleheader. There's no time to reset or anything for Tennessee if needed, like they did. But just to come out.
Momentum is a fickle mistress, Harrison. Momentum is a fickle mistress.
Yeah, and I mean, in college baseball, anyone can beat anyone. We talk about that all the time. I mean, but to come out and just play how they did, it felt like they played, and don't take this lightly, with their backs against the wall. They have nothing to lose and only everything to gain, but have all the pressure in the world on them to gain. And just like it felt like going in that this was like a David versus Goliath situation, even though the talent that Texas A&M has. But I mean, I think, yeah, the bats were there, but like we've seen that potential from them. We've seen the power in the lineup, just the talent those guys are, but the pitching staff, Chris. For Justin Lampkin and Weston Moss to go out there and throw 9 innings, give up 2 earned runs combined, and to shut down a lineup like that, I mean, that was, I think, one of the most impressive things to me. And the way that they got to Marcus Phillips, too. Honestly,
that was surprising.
I thought that it was impressive how they got to Marcus and Nate Snead too, but the way that they did, because they were just ambushing fastballs that were kind of up over the zone, and just kind of less so for Marcus Phillips than others, but guys that were like leaving mistake pitches over the zone, or like early curveballs or whatnot. And just, it felt like a different approach and confidence at the plate. And that was the biggest thing. I think that it was all Saturday. I mean, because it wasn't Friday, and then game 2, you have Miles Patton and Caden Wilson go combined for the game. You only use 2 pitchers against Tennessee. And you said Tennessee has not been touched up like this as a pitching staff before. I mean,
Harrison, they might still, but they led the country in ERA coming.
Yeah.
2.45, I think it was.
They used 6 pitchers in game 3, Chris. And Tegan Kuhns, who I think is extremely talented and going to be a big name in the SEC next year, the following year, he's been elite for a freshman this year. He got touched up as 2 innings, and then Braden Krenzel got pieced in his 1 inning. But it just felt like a hit parade, pass the baton to the next guy. And I think the pressure that they put on just barreling balls, like we talked about, I said LSU not this past week, but the week before, just felt like every inning they were barreling balls. And just, I think it was a lot of that this week, barreling balls and hitting, and a lot of, I think it was, for the most part, it felt like everything was like a 1-1 count. They were just piecing, like squaring at the baseball. And I mean, Chris, I think the conversation does need to spark back up a little bit of maybe Lindsey Nelson's a bomb box.
Here we go.
I mean, Chris, the ball was flying out of the yard.
Here we go.
You saw the ones in left field, though, too. I'm not saying it is, but the conversation is going to be had that, like, a couple of them, Chris, were flying over the porch in left field. I mean, it was ridiculous how many home. I mean, even Hunter Inslee's was a piece, but we know the power he has. But like Wyatt Hensler, I mean, he had 2. And I mean, maybe the resurgence of having Caden Sorrell in your lineup, is that the biggest thing and the biggest reason why? Because he had 3 home runs on Saturday alone, the 2 games.
Did you see his quote after the series?
What did it say?
He said, "This is the expectation." And I was like, all right.
I mean,
all right.
Hey, I mean, if that's all it took was getting, a bat like Caden Sorrell in the lineup and, getting some mojo passing the baton, because we know how talented they are. But like Barrett Harrison had a phenomenal series too. I think he was on base a lot. Ben Royo had 2 home runs in game 3. I mean, it felt like, let's go play with our hair on fire, nothing to lose and everything to gain. And let's go gain it because we know we can play with these guys. We've done it before.
Harrison, this was, and I said it would be last week, and I'm going to echo that yet again. This was the upset of the college baseball season. There will not be a 100%. Bigger upset in my mind based off of what had happened to this point.
As a series, this might be upset of, the modern college baseball era, the past 10 years.
Based off what had happened to this point and what we thought was going to happen, upset of the college baseball season. I will say this, because I've been very critical of Michael Earley in Texas A&M. We've all been critical. Everybody has, deservedly so.
Some more than others.
I will say this. I am really, really happy for those guys. I'm happy for Michael Earley. I'm happy for those guys on that roster and in that clubhouse probably more than anything. Happy for the Aggie fan base. It was fun to watch them having fun. Like the putter in the dugout, the home run antics. It was fun. Like I was like, you're watching and you're like, dude, good for them. Because nobody wants, and I know Tennessee fans won't love to hear this, but like nobody wanted to continue to watch them just spiral out of control. Nobody wants to see them go, 6-24 in conference play. Like, I don't think any of us want to see that. It was fun to watch those pieces come together. And if nothing else, those guys have fun playing baseball again. Happy for Michael Earley. Happy for the Aggies. Happy for all those guys I know that cover the Aggies, guys and girls that cover the Aggies. Happy for the Aggie fan base. It was fun to see. Now, I want to ask you this, Harrison. Is your bigger takeaway from the weekend Tennessee or A&M moving forward? Like, do you have concerns now with Tennessee, or do you more give credit to what A&M did? Or is it a mix of both?
I would say it's a mix of both, but I think it's more credit to A&M because no one's going to go through the SEC gauntlet and just dominate everyone.
Everybody's going to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get punched in the face.
We've never seen a team, I don't think, and we've looked through the record books briefly at, like, we obviously worse records talking about certain teams, but just no one's gone through, because it's such a long season. It's a gauntlet. There's no breaks. You're playing on the road, these incredible venues, these tough environments, let alone injuries and being, healthy the entire season and guys stepping up, roles and whatnot. But, I think it's more so just that the bitter, salty taste in your mouth as a Tennessee fan that it happened to A&M of all teams. Like, thinking, if this happened for us on the road at LSU, okay, they're a top 5 team. But to happen to a, spiraling leading into this Texas A&M team, it just is bitter tasting. It's just I don't say a gut punch, but maybe a reality check, if anything. And this could be the best thing for Tennessee baseball this season, Chris.
I'll say that right now. I'm glad you said that, Harrison, because as I was watching Saturday night, what was unfolding, and again, I was, in shock a bit. I will say I was thinking to myself, he may never admit it, and I wouldn't expect him to, but deep down, I'm like, I bet there's a part of Tony Vitello that loves this happened.
I'm not going that far, but Chris,
just from the standpoint of like, you got your guys' attention. Like, hey, you're not all world everything. Like, this is your comeback to earth moment, and let's get to work. That's all I'm saying.
No, 100%. Like,
you don't want it to happen that way, but you get what I'm saying.
This could definitely be the best thing to happen for Tennessee baseball this season, as bitter and salty tasting as it is to hear, especially me to say that, versus a team like A&M with how they're spiraling. But this is kind of a reality check, and it's just like, maybe it's a hot, cold, hot theory for them, or just say, hey, like, we can't sleep on any team coming in or going on the road, no matter who it is, how much talent they are, how much they're struggling, how great they're playing. And we have to work on our craft and continue to hone our craft, play the game that we know how to play to the best of our abilities, and play our game. I think Tennessee got away from that a little bit. And I think A&M played to their potential and best game, and it took advantage of opportunities and mistakes. We saw mistakes. I mean, the ball thrown over first base, 2 more runs. You know, what I loved, I think, about A&M the most in this series was just kind of, it felt like they played so loose and free. Like, it felt like a brand new season for them. But just, I think the aggressiveness that they played, as well as Tennessee, just, it felt like, I mean, they were sliding each other. They were about laying each other out. At second on a stolen base, at third on a guy going from second to third. Lane, I mean, and then at home, Jay Slavett runs over the catcher basically. It made sense just with the ball up the line, but like it felt like let's go, like this is it, like this is a turning point maybe. And I mean, crazy to think that it would happen at Tennessee, the number 1 team in the nation, that's just so dominant by far. But like I said with Tennessee, it could be a reality check that propels them forward and just has them continue. No one's going to have their guys ready better than Tony Vitello, if not, one of the top 3 guys in all of college baseball to do that. And I think he doesn't love it, but I think he's fine. He goes, all right, so what? Like, let's learn from him, let's respond. And I think that's something that Tennessee's going to do the rest of the season. I'm just excited to see what A&M does next weekend.
The bat flips, the putter in the dugout, the emotion,
energy.
I just loved seeing A&M get their swagger back. Like, it's kind of like that meme of that kid. I think I got my swagger back for a moment, at least for a day. That was A&M. I will say, Harrison, in closing, we live in a world of like hot takes, get the hot take out there. And so this is not going to do that. We could go hot take here, but I'm not really overreacting to either side, Harrison, if I'm being totally honest. Like, Tennessee played one bad day of baseball. They're going to fall out of number 1. They are. They're going to fall out of number 1 in the polls. Yep, they're going to fall out of number 1 in the power rankings. It is what it is. Cool. We all get that. My view of them doesn't really change. Like, yeah, this team's still a favorite to get to Omaha. They had one bad day of baseball. One.
Yeah, and
now,
Chris,
if I 2 games cost you, but one.
And if I call up Hunter Renzo right now, he'd still say, we're still hunting.
Oh, for sure. Dude, again, it's one bad day of baseball. And then Texas A&M on the flip side, Harrison. Like, did they catch lightning in a bottle for one day? Or did they find something? I will put this bug in your ear, because remember, I went and said A&M's dead. Lost to Kentucky, dead. I'm not even backing off that take. I don't want to be right, but I'm not going to back off that take. Fun fact, Harrison, Texas A&M through 12 conference games has the same record that LSU team did last year when they went on a run, made the postseason. They didn't make the College World Series, but still, Chris, they went from 3-9 to the postseason. So
tell me what else who's in the season schedule was that year, though.
I know you're right. You're right. They had the front half gauntlet. That's the difference. A&M's got the back half. But I mean, dude, if you look at A&M, you got South Carolina coming to your place next week. And what if they sweep?
They need to have 2 at least.
Then what? I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Then you play LSU, Arkansas, and Georgia.
I know. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Austin. But it is just, I mean, unreal what took place. Again, Texas A&M taking 2 or 3.
Hey, I'll give you another little meme for you. Just that, maybe A&M fans, maybe the guys in the clubhouse locker room are saying, we're back.
Maybe a little early on that one.